everyone, my name is Pyjama Gamer and welcome back to another video. Now I was going to do a game of war, but I have kind of forgotten what I have done and what I haven't done, so I decided that instead I would have a look at it's not really a game, it kind of is, but it kind of isn't at the same time. You'll see what I mean. My friend at school, one of the teachers that I work with, introduced me to this as an absolutely fantastic kind of introduction to gaming for children. So if you are wanting your children to grow up as a gamer, I would strongly recommend this. It also might encourage a future generation of game developers, as it's called Studio it's called Studio Code, so code.org, I think. Yeah, code.org. And basically it introduces young children to the concept of gaming and how to control it and how to code programs, which is fantastic for the new government legislation that states that children need to be able to code and decode programs at the age of 5. So if we have a look, let me just set this off. I know, just do it. 3, 2, 1. There we go. So if we go onto Google Chrome and type into Google, you just type in code.org. And it's the top one here. This one's in purple because I've obviously been on it. Get rid of that. So this is the screen that you get up with. You can either, if you're a school, then you can buy a pass to have it all year, but you don't necessarily have to do it. If you go on to students and try Code Studio, particularly if you are, it's more kind of like if you're a parent wanting to teach your children. There's different sections for teachers, but I might look at that as a different time. So it tells you the courses and what they are aimed for. So course 1 is for your, I imagine they would probably be called elementary students if you're in America, but we would call them kind of like the preschool aspect of it, so nursery or foundation for 4 to 6. So it's anywhere from foundation up to end of year 1, beginning year 2. So if we go on to it. Now, as you can see, there is about, 18 different stages. The ones in the blue circles are assessments, just to kind of check how the children are doing, whether they've actually learnt some bits. The ones that are in white are obviously they haven't started. The yellow ones is one that you're currently on. Your dark green one is you've done it, you've nailed it, fantastic. The lighter green, like the faded green, is if you've got too many blocks on. So for instance, if you went across too many times, you've still done it, you've still completed it, but there's room for improvement. So what I decided to do is I would have a quick look at some of the stages for this one, and then I might kind of see how we get on in regards to time, and I might do different stages in different areas. So if we have a quick look at what their unplugged activity is to start with. I don't want the video. It sets up videos to just kind of explain to children kind of what it is about, what it needs to do. So this is kind of your very basic thing of saying, right, okay, which arrow does he need to get the treasure? And they come up with like little characteristics. So if I click down and submit, ta-da! It's official. I can code as well as a 4-year-old. It's brilliant. Sorry, oh, sorry, I hate it. Right, okay, so let's do one more because these are relatively. And the thing that I like about it is particularly the older ones, it just says east, west, north, south. But for the younger children, to get them used to which is north, which is south, which is east, which is west, they put the arrows on for you. Because even sometimes I'll just go, never eat shredded wheat. Although technically if you'll be never eat shredded wheat for you guys, for me it's the other way. So I'm going to click the 2 arrows going to my left, to the left, to the left. Yay! Now if you know that if you don't want to sign in, you can always come back to bits by clicking on more, and if say so that's basically the job that you've got to do. It gives you tips just to say, right, this is what you have to do in this puzzle. But if say I wanted to skip straight on to say stage 11, you can say you didn't want to sign in, you didn't want to do anything else, you just want your children to go on and pick it up. Make a note of whereabouts they are. So if they say they're on stage 10 artist shapes, they've completed it all, you can go, right, they need to go on stage 11 spelling bee. So click on the number 1, and it should. Ta-da! And it takes you straight on there, which is fantastic. But I'm not quite that biased. Move me to spell the word east. And it's quite nice because you not only have you got to find it, but it also gives you the spelling, so your children know. So if I go back onto the jigsaw, I'll do a couple of these, one of each, so you can kind of see that they get harder. So the first one is you drag the whole thing by clicking on it with your mouse and moving it. Ta-da. And then that one was nowhere like nearly exact. They're not that picky if it has to be exactly in the shape, which is quite nice, because if your children kind of overshot, it's fine. Then they move on to 2, and then they do that for a couple of times, and I think is it this one? Then they make it a little bit harder. Yeah. Then they put 3 on. So you've got 1, 2, 3, and then they put 4 on, which I think is the next one. No. That one, number 7. How am I doing for time? The screen recorder that I have for my computer it does it in 10 minutes, so I have to be very, very cautious. What I might actually do is I might do a bit more of a series on this. Here we go. This is the next this is the next difficulty level. Is they give you a picture but it's not quite right. So what you have to do is you have to click on the one that's not right, move it, drag it where it needs to go, and then you can move the other pictures underneath. And it makes Housey. I love you, Housey. Sorry, I've been watching PewDiePie again. And then, like for instance, this one, they've put it in the middle. So you click on the one that you want, you put it where it needs to go, put the next one where it needs to go. What a happy little computer. I wish my computer was that happy. My computer hates me. Makes me sad. Then there should be another level of difficulty. Here we go. This is for something that they introduce a bit later, where you see the big pink one that has the purple and the blue one in the middle. They have kind of like they kind of group it together. So for instance, that purple one might say follow mouse, and it might be move upwards and move left or something like that. So every time you move the mouse, it goes up and left, and it's kind of like a repeating thing. So it's kind of cool that they introduce it now, despite the fact that really they don't. This is something that's quite later on, but they introduce it now just to kind of get the kids used to it. Is there a different one? Yeah, so this is how it will look, and then it just means that it could be something along the lines of move forever if clicked. And then at the end, that's just kind of like an assessment, just to check that you do actually understand what's happening. So if we go on to stage 4, how am I doing for time? Okay, I'll do this one quickly. Now this is where they start introducing it as kind of more like a game aspect of it. So Angry Birds is obviously very popular. So you start off very simple with just one direction first. Sorry, I've never heard it with the sound on. That's brilliant, I love it. So they kind of do it up, so I might just skip it up till about here. So like I said, with the arrows with the letter next to it, so you can kind of show children that north is up, south is down, etc, etc. So yeah, they've just made it a little bit more difficult by introducing another layer in, but it's still them going in the same direction. Now here's where it starts getting complicated, because you have to, well, for the children anyway, because you've now got different directions. So you would have to go west, south, south. So west, south, south. There we go. And basically they just make it a bit more complicated each time, just to kind of really test where the children are coming from. Can they understand exactly what it is that they've got to do, or is it just I can just do one direction? They make it a bit longer by having one set of instructions, then 2 sets of instructions, then 3, then 4, and it kind of goes on in increasing difficulty like that. So let's just do this last one. So we go west, south, west. And you are always the angry bird that needs to get the pig. Sometimes, when the first couple of times that I did it, I got really confused because I presumed that I was the pig trying to get the bird. I completely forgot the way that it was supposed to go. And it got very confusing, very annoying. But there we go. So if I click record again, yeah. Yeah, so like I said, it kind of just goes in 10-minute bursts. So here we go again. Here's a larger level of difficulty, and then afterwards it goes on to the assessment bits. Obviously that's the highest one, where you've got to go west, south, east, then south again. Oh no, don't know why I clicked that. So if we go up here, we go on to the assessment bits, which this time is, no, it's not pictures. I'm pretty sure there was one that was a picture. No? Okay. So let's have a look at the debugging aspect of it. So the debugging is basically, they give you a program but it doesn't work. There's something in there that you need to take out, and then it gives you a video explaining what debugging means. So if we have a look at the program that they've got, it says east, east. Now every time that you put in east, it jumps 1 square. So east, east will be the in between, it'll be right next to the pig, and obviously we want him to be murdering the pig. Murder the pig. Get in that berserker mode. Boom! There we go. So, so there will be somewhere it's kind of like that. It's the basic thing of they haven't done it enough. They haven't clicked east enough. But then later on, it's actually the program itself. There is a problem in there. No, it's not that one. It's a bit further along. So it kind of gets you used to the idea that there is enough steps, and then they flip it and say, right, okay, here's the program, but there is enough steps. So if you look at this one, you go east, north, east, 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 south, which technically will put you onto the TNT. So then what you've got to do, you've got to take one of the easts out, put a south in. Now if you want to get rid of it, you saw a dustbin appear there. If you go back to where all your arrows are and you hover over it, it chucks it away. That noise. No, I did it right. South. And so that's kind of teaching the kids the basic skills of, it's not always going to be perfect, and that's okay. So that's the debugging aspect of it, and then it kind of goes through like that. Have we got another one? What else have we got? So some of them, it's called an unplugged activity, because it just basically means they are checking how you've done so far, and okay, so this one, it's like, right, you've done the whole thing of basic, so now it's going to be a bit harder. So which bit should be at the beginning? So it's kind of saying, right, here's a sequence, what's missing? So obviously it will be dirty teeth. Put foot in shoe, paste on brush, brush teeth, clean teeth. Ta-da! I don't remember doing this one. So yeah, that's just kind of like, can you recognise the something that's missing? So this one's got fill pot with soil, poke. I'm sorry, I'm really trying not to see the dirtiness in poke hole in soil, put seed in hole. I'm sorry. So what would be next? Would it be water pot, which is already there, brush teeth, which has nothing to do with it, so it must be cover seed. Sorry, this cough is really doing my head in. So I think the sequence is a lot... right, so this one is quite unusual. You now have the basics, but you've got extra things to do. So if you move east, and you have to get the flour, if you just put 3 easts in, it will just go to the end and you won't do it. So then you put 2 easts in, and then you make... Ta-da! And basically that just gets a bit more complicated as well. So if we skip to kind of... I might see how much of this I can do. I might end up doing 2 videos. So basically, it's just along the lines of, you're a bee. You've got to pollinate some flowers, but it just says get some flowers, and then you have to make it. And they kind of stick it in different places to make it more challenging and to make your ability to add in more lines of code. So for instance, this one. So you've got to get your 2 flowers now, and you need to put the 2 get flowers, otherwise it will just do the 1 and then it will just carry on moving. And it's very interactive. It's fantastic for kids because it's very child friendly. You know, even if the children can't read get or when run, they can still recognise, right, I need to move this way, I need a flower. Oh, that's only come up once, so we'll go on it again. And there's no punishment, there's no, you haven't done this in the first time, therefore, it just gives you the option to say, right, okay, something's not quite right there, go back and have another look. Ta-da! And it gives you continual things to say, right, here's how many you've done this time, here's how many you've done altogether. Which is great for the children because not only is there a congratulations, but you can kind of see how well they're doing. So as you can see there, look, sometimes you will have to get more flowers than you will have nectar. And then obviously you have to follow that path, you can't go anywhere else, you just bounce off, and they just make it a bit more complicated. So what I think I will do is I think I will leave that one there. Stop. Right, yeah, so I'm going to leave that one there and I'm going to come back to it, and I might just finish it off, and I might kind of just do half of it each time because I really like it. I know it's supposed to be for 4 to 6 year olds, but deep down I am a big kid and I love doing things like that, and I tried to do the 10 to 18 straight away and I was just like, I don't know what any of this means. So sometimes it's nice to go back to basics. It's quite nice for, we use it a lot in the school that I work in. It's really nice for them. They absolutely love it. You can stick them on it and they'll be like, I'm bored after 10 minutes because it's quite challenging. It's suitable for all ages, big kids and little kids alike. So that's the things that I like about it. Sometimes you do need a lot of time, and obviously if you don't want to sign up for it then you can lose progress and things like that, but you can still go back to where you were, so it's not a major issue, it's not like a huge bugbear with it. So if I had to give this kind of website game thing a mark out of 10, I think I would have to go and give it straight away a 10 out of 10 because I absolutely love it to bits. So I'd be really interested to know if any of you guys have played or been on it, if your children have been on it, if you know that your child's school has been on it, if you work in a school that uses it. I'd be really interested to hear what you guys think. So just drop me a comment or a message, it would be fantastic. I'm very much for it. I think it's brilliant. So I might do another one of these because I quite like it. So I will see you all in the next video.